All right. I'm going to carry on with our, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh Guerrilla talk of the day, or sixth, perhaps. This is Chong Siew Ying, who is an artist from Malaysia. Were you born in Kuala Lumpur?
That's right.
Okay. Who has lived in Paris, or you studied in Paris in the 90s. And then, do you live between the two places now, or?
For the last 10 years, yes.
Okay. How much time do you spend in each place?
Like 6 months in KL and 6 months in Paris.
Okay. How come? Why do you go back and forth?
Well, I went to Paris 20 years ago to study arts.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 10 years I was there all the time. And then, well, occasionally I went back to Malaysia and I want to live the best of both country, which are very, very different.
Yep, absolutely.
So I did the 6 months thing for 10 years, and then I also realized that it's very hard to keep two home.
Yes.
So I just moved back to Malaysia.
Okay, so Paris is over.
Yeah, 6 months ago. Yeah.
Why did you go to Paris originally in 1990?
To become an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paris was still the place to go. To be that.
For me, yeah. It was a childhood dreams.
Mm-hmm.
In Malaysia, I went to Chinese school, and we have the choice to go to Chinese school or Malay school or English school as a primary education.
Yep.
I guess for those who went to Chinese school, have more because of the influence of what we read.
Yep.
We tend to want to dream to go to Paris to become an artist, but other people who went to like local international school, mostly English, they will want to go to England or America for further study.
So in a way, you're actually like a generation of Chinese artists who moved to Paris, like Huang Yangping, and
very small amount from Malaysia. That's right. Yeah.
Nice. And then, well, can you just talk a little bit about the pieces downstairs, which are at Valentine Willie, down in Asia 1?
Yeah.
These are, I'll just say briefly that they're black and white landscape paintings.
Charcoal.
Charcoal, yes, made with charcoal.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I was going to ask you, you have a very unique method of making them, right? Can you describe that?
Yeah. For those who have not seen this work downstairs, those are charcoal drawings. I work with charcoal on paper, on this paper that already mounted on canvas. They come together, so I can make very big size, easier to manipulate. I draw the charcoal on it as detailed as possible. And then I pass a layer of acrylic medium, is acrylic gel, mixed with water, and I apply a layer on top of it with brushes. Can you? Yeah. So I create another texture with when I apply the brush stroke on it. I create texture like brushstroke and also a lot of little detail. You have to see the real things to find out. And the acrylic medium will fix the charcoal. So this stage, when I apply the brushstroke with the medium, I can only do like 2 or 3 strokes, or else you wash away the drawings. So the medium will fix the charcoal and make it glossy, and it looks like ink. Is it clear enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Going back to your education, I mean, because when I look at these paintings,
I was majoring in oil for the past 10 years.
Yep.
I'm basically work with oil, and charcoal is always a side thing, some like just charcoal on paper. But after playing around, I like to do all kind of experimentation, when I work in my studio.
Yep.
And this is how this come out.
Okay.
And
were you making preparatory sketches for your paintings, or?
I don't.
You don't.
either when I work with oil or even this charcoal landscape,
Yep.
I start directly on the
Really?
actual work.
Wow.
So this is how I work, and
So then, does that make it very intuitive? I mean, like where?
it's extremely intuitive. Yes,
Mm.
I work with intuition. Mm.
Because the paintings generally have some sort of tree element. These new ones specifically, like there's a tree in most of them, or a cluster of trees, right? And then also this sky and landscape. Where do you start if they're all intuitive? I mean, are you starting with just the first tree, or are you
I started with the crowd. This
with
one.
the cloud?
Yeah, it depends. Some actually it's like, yeah. For example, I will sit in front of. I prepare the canvas. I will sit in front of the canvas for sometimes a few days, sometimes a few hours, and I directly have an idea. I know what I want to do, but I don't know. But I will not see the entire image yet until I start working on it. So when I don't know, when the image is not very clear, I start with the sky, because it's like I know because I'm doing landscape. I know I need this space. All of them is about the infinity, a sense of infinity, right? That's why it's the title of the show. So this one, for example, I start with the sky, and after I finish all the crowd, it's the easiest things in the world to draw. Then I start seeing other things, and then I construct the image like that, step by step.
So all coming from your imagination?
It's all come from imagination.
Okay.
And if I need if I need reference, like for example, after a while, I thought I might see that I want to put an elephant underneath these things. Then if I not quite sure about the proportion or whatever, then I look for images of elephant.
Sure.
So use it as a reference.
Yep.
This is how it works. Yeah.
Okay. But with these infinity paintings, I mean, you even the trees and things, you're drawing them from imagination, because
it depends. This one, 300 years, is actually a real tree.
Okay.
So 300 years, I start with a tree. I draw the tree, and the tree is a tree. In my friends, I went to visit a friend in England last year, and it's in her garden, and this tree is more than 300 years old.
Okay.
So I used the image of the picture of the tree that I took as a reference. It's not 100% like that. Just and then after that, after I finish a tree, I decide I want to put a landscape as such as what you see, and it's actually a morning scene of a rainforest. And the tree is a chestnut tree, so it's not supposed to, Yeah,
the tree immediately, because it's a chestnut tree, it really immediately reminded me of French landscape painting.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, because of those, just because of the shapes.
Of the shape, yes.
Yeah.
It's not tropical.
Exactly. And then but the rainforest and even the skies are like much more, tropical, and like, this sense of humidity. So, I mean, I guess what I was going to say about these works is that there's, I don't know,
That's about my...
only knowing a little bit about your background, like this kind of how apparent in a way it is that like the 19th century kind of French conception of landscape, or even American conception of like vast openness, and the interest in the horizon line as being a kind of quasi-transcendent space, like and I mean, for American romantic painters, for example, the Hudson River School, which was a group really interested in depicting what was then the frontier of America, and also imbuing that idea of the West, or the horizon, with spiritual ideas.
The likes and so on,
in part because of sunsets, but also just because the westward movement across the American landscape was filled with also a kind of missionary and Christian sense of spreading progress and capturing the. But I mean, from a Malaysian context, how is the horizon line and the sort of space? How do you conceive of that?
I would not use the word Malaysian context, because it's a universal context.
How about your context?
or it's a universal perception, I guess.
Yeah.
It's about the sense of infinity. I think our universe is is infinite. How you said it? Infinite.
Yeah,
Infinite.
Yeah, infinite.
Yeah,
Yep.
infinite. Yeah, and one life is our life is limitless, but at the same time it's infinite.
Coming, but where's that coming? I mean, okay, we can leave that there. So, along with these paintings, so these are you're saying that these are a real different or departure from your earlier work. Yeah, but would you mind describing a little bit about the series? Maybe what did you make right before you made these works?
For the past 15 years, I basically work on figure, like faces and body and all this. But it's actually more or less telling the same. It's also more or less about my identity as a person in this world, and and the same kind of question that I'm asking.
Similar method of making.
They are oil painting and very colorful,
Yep.
and also a lot of references. Like this one is reference to Chinese Ying painting.
Yes.
And those oil painting also have this element, like first for the first few years I did a lot of face and just face itself about the expression, etc. But later on, I put landscape at I use the background. I have mountain kind of landscape, like Chinese Ying painting kind of landscape, but in oil, and flowers around. And slowly, I feel that the presence of the figure is not necessary anymore, and it turned out the landscape from the background become the main subject.
Yep.
Yeah, this is how this work come from. And the choice of using charcoal is because it look like inks, and I don't want to use ink to do this work. It's different because it's different. The texture, you don't get the same texture from what I can get with the charcoal. And it's also about it's also about the fusion of East and West in terms of technique and also in terms of subject matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying about the chestnut tree, like it's so recognizable from paintings, but then also the kind of realism that you bring to certain parts of the painting is very sort of European American in its conception. But then there's also something about moments in these paintings where space disappears a little bit more, like kind of around here, and certainly in these sort of mountains.
Chinese ink.
Yeah, that definitely recalls Chinese ink. But yeah, the skies to me remain very European.
Yes, very European. That's right.
Yeah. So it was just interesting just looking at your painting and like to start to feel all those different kind of connotations that we have. Like if you're familiar with those two traditions of art making, coming together, and they were very nicely apparent, I think. But then the character of the tree, I mean, this 200-year-old tree really is, in a way, like a face.
Yeah, it's a portrait of a tree. So instead of portrait of a figure, it's portrait of a tree. Yeah.
But you must have made sketches for this one, or did you make this?
I also worked directly on the canvas, based on the picture I took of that tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
But back home in your studio, and then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're showing here at the fair.
Yeah.
And then what else are you working on? Where else have you been showing? Or will you show?
You mean?
No, I don't know, next year and what's coming up?
Next year. Next year I
Or this year, or later this year. Even.
I will continue explore with this medium.
Yep.
And in the future, I might. I'm going. I will continue a little bit about the landscape things. I have not finished. I feel like I have not finished exploring all the possibility of even subject matter and the technique. But with the technique, I have planned to do a series of figure again, but this time it's about real people. For the last 15 years, a lot of people will ask me, who is this person, that person, and they are not real. Again, I use images as a reference, but I don't actually do the person as a portrait of that person itself. But the next one I decided to do a series of real people, and I will choose people who has at least 3 blood. I'm going to call it a mixed blood series.
Okay.
What I mean is like a person who have mixed or 3 different ethnic, not nationality, because it's like Chinese, Indian, and Caucasian. That's a lot of mixture. Yep. And because I'm still like very into about the fusion of culture, and I felt very close to it. I mean, I am in a situation that it's something that I question and I try to understand more or intrigue me or something like that. Because, being a Chinese Malaysian and spend half of my life in France, that sort of, So I began collected quite a few picture of people I met or friends that who all mix up. Then you will see one day if the world, everybody married everybody, and how we all look like one in the future, if it's possible.
Were your older works also a kind of fusion? I mean, if you're drawing just from imagination,
yes, actually, my Pretty Girl series. In Malaysia, people who know my work, they say, "Oh, the Pretty Girl series." Actually, I make a series of. They are not real people, so they're very, question about pretty as well. So they look like certain top models, certain animation, like those pretty heroine in animation face, and combined with flowers around and Chinese landscape. It's also very fusion. My gallery manager is carrying a catalog, if you like to see. For example, on the cover, so something like that. Yeah.
Great. Well, so we have more examples of your work there, and then your works on view downstairs at Valentine Willie. So please. Yeah. So thanks for telling us about your work.
Thank you.
Really nice to meet you.